Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another Steam 2 video. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the final Rite 9 weapon, at least for this week. And it's going to be the long arm, the Arc Scout Rifle. Just like the other weapons, this weapon got some updated perks. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at what are those perks, what are the best ones, and what are the ones that you should be looking for if you're looking for a god run this weapon. And at the end, we're going to have a mini review where I just go over the things that I like or dislike about the weapon, and just in general what I feel about this Scout Rifle's Rite 9 PvE. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you do, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel in case you guys aren't already, as well as follow me on Twitch. We've been streaming a lot on Twitch, so I'd love to see you over there as well. And now let's get into it, and let's first start with how to actually get this weapon. And we gotta keep this simple, and this is gonna come from the Rite 9 dungeons. It doesn't matter which difficulty it is, you're gonna be able to get this weapon with the updated rules. Now there is different versions of the weapon that do matter, like what difficulty you do. The higher difficulty you go on, the more adepts you'll get, the more shinies you'll get, the more holo foils you get, so keep that in mind. Now this weapon is an aggressive frame scout rifle, meaning that it's one of those like dead man still like legendaries. Very high damage but also very slow firing. And it also comes with two different origin traits, Ted's Balance Stock and the brand new one, Gravity Well. And this weapon specifically works really well with Gravity Well, just because the way that you reload this weapon. You can activate it just over and over again, meaning that you just keep sucking up all the ammo, and this might be the best weapon to actually take advantage of this like origin trait. It is just so good and you're constantly activating it. But now let's actually move on and let's start taking a look at the things that we're all here for, to look at those trait perks. Now we're not going to go in depth about every single perk, but we are going to talk more about the best ones, because I know that's what you guys are looking for anyways. You want the best of the best. And now let's get into it. Let's take a look at these perks, and let's start with the very first one. Now these are going to be the options that we have right here: Rapid Hit, Lone Wolf, Dual Loader, Recycle Energy, Hit Fire Grip, and lastly Subsistence. So let's talk about the best ones, and I think first we gotta talk about the reload speed ones, aka being Rapid Hit as well as Dual Loader. Now Rapid Hit is going to give you both stability and reload speed, so if you're trying to make these weapons a lot more stable, then this is pretty much what you want to go for. This is going to make the weapon feel a lot better, while at the same time giving you a bunch of reload speed, so you can just keep reloading this thing really fast. Now another very similar one is going to be Dual Loader. Whenever you reload, you are reloading 2 at a time each time, but with Dual Loader on, you actually reload 3 at a time, so you actually do still reload much faster, even if you have like a slower reload speed. And this one actually feels pretty good. I was actually using Dual Loader in the gameplay in the background, and it does make reloading really fast. And you can go from no ammo to having full ammo just super fast, which is like the main downside of these weapons, that after you go through all your ammo, it takes a long time to get back up there. Both of these perks are going to be pretty good. They kind of deal with the main issue of these weapons, which is just reloading really slow in PvE. And if you don't want to reload, you also have the choice of Subsistence. Every time that you defeat targets, it partially reloads the magazine from reserves. And because these Scout Rifles actually deal a lot of damage per shot, this actually keeps you pretty topped off. You don't really have to reload when you're fighting a bunch of red bars. Now when it comes to some of those bigger enemies like the yellow bars, this is where you're going to struggle, because you're not going to be getting kills, and then you're going to have to deal with the really slow reload speed to get back up to a full magazine. Now if you're trying to take this weapon into the Crucible, you can also roll with Lone Wolf in this weapon, meaning that you get increased aim down sight speed, increased aim assist, and increased airborne effectiveness. I wish I could tell you that this felt as good as the Dead Man Still when hit firing, but even with hit fire grip, this thing does not feel good hit firing. Even with the new exotics that gives you better hit fire, it just does not feel as good. So those are gonna be the best perks that I recommend for this slot, and now let's take a look at the second one. Now these are the perks that we're gonna have for the second slot: Rolling Storm, Dragonfly, Redirection, Precision Instrument, Keep Away, and lastly Explosive Payload. And the second row perks is definitely much better than the first one, but let's first talk about the one that most of you guys are probably gonna go for, which is Rolling Storm. Yes, there's another primary weapon that deals with Rolling Storm. This is gonna work really well with basically any arc build. If you got use this weapon with an arc build, you pretty much want to be on Rolling Storm. Every time you get a kill, you're gonna get a stack of Bolt Charge, and if you're amplified, you get 2 stacks of Bolt Charge. And since this weapon usually kills hats very quickly in 1 to 2 shots, you actually can build a bolt charge with Rolling Storm very easily with this one. So if you're thinking of using this weapon with an arc build, Rolling Storm is pretty much the only one you keep in mind. After that, we're gonna have Dragonfly, Precision Kills create an elemental explosion, and this is gonna give you a bit more act clear, which is something that these weapons usually struggle with since they do fire pretty slowly. So having a weapon like Firefly that gives you some extra AoE damage is actually really nice, and because it is a higher damage scout rifle, usually every headshot will proc Dragonfly, which is very, very satisfying. I love Dragonfly with weapons like this, where every headshot pretty much procs it, so you can get a bunch of just Dragonfly explosions going, essentially all over the place. So Dragonfly is also going to be a really good perk, and one that you should definitely keep in mind. We also have the brand new buff Redirection on this weapon, which is fantastic, especially with a weapon like this one. The weapon damage you're going to be doing with Redirection is going to be huge, and it is going to make killing those yellow bars just a lot easier. So this is just a really good perk on pretty much anything, and so it's also really good on this weapon. And the last perk that I want to talk about, at least for PvE, is going to be Explosive Payload, and this will give you basically a permanent 15% damage increase. It is fantastic, and if you want to just improve the damage that you do with this weapon and pretty much just always one-shot the small red bars, this is pretty much the perk that you want. If you want just some sort of just constant damage perk, Explosive Payload is going to be your best bet. Now for Crucible, I would say Explosive Payload still works pretty well. The extra flinch is nice, and the reduction to range, you don't really feel it because these things essentially have just so much range that losing like a meter is not really a big deal. And the other option is going to be Keep Away, which is going to give you increased accuracy, range, and also reload. And even though I did just say that these things already have a lot of range, the increased accuracy from Keep Away is going to be fantastic, especially when you pair it up with Lone Wolf. Oh, this thing is, I think it's going to be feeling good. And now let's move on and let's talk about some God rolls and the ones that I think that you guys should be going for. Now for the very first stray perk, I'm just going to keep it pretty simple. Either Rapid Hit or Dual Loader will work pretty well with any other perks on the second slot that we mentioned. Rapid Hit plus Rolling Storm is going to be fantastic. You're going to be constantly getting those stacks of Bolt Charge while at the same time increasing your stability and your reload speed. Rapid Hit plus Dragonfly is also going to be amazing since it means you're always going to be doing a bit of extra AoE damage, and it definitely helps with the main weakness of this weapon, which is its low RPM when there's too many enemies. And lastly, we're going to have Rapid Hit plus Explosive Payload, because it means that you're always walking around with that 15% extra damage, essentially guaranteeing that you're always killing every single red bar you hit. But those are pretty much like the best God rolls I think that you guys should be looking for on this weapon, and the ones that I would be looking for. I also want to hear from you guys, what is the God roll that you guys are going to be going for, or maybe you already got. Make sure that you guys share it in the comments below. And now let me tell you a little about this weapon and just kind of what I feel about them. For the most part, I feel like these scout rifles are just okay, but I definitely think that they deserve some buffs, because scout rifles have just been kind of like out of the PvE metagame for such a long time. I don't remember the last time in a PvE endgame scenario where I went, you know, I should definitely use a scout rifle for this. These scout rifles are definitely fun in like low to mid game content, but once you get to some of that end game content, I definitely feel like these scout rifles will struggle a lot more, especially compared to some of the other legendaries. You're just much better off in some of the end game with other weapons, so I hope that Bungie buffs the scout rifles eventually, but I know that they're kind of afraid of the scout rifles, because if they buff the scout rifles too much, they know that that's pretty much everything that everyone's going to use. So they're kind of like in a bad spot, but Bungie doesn't really want to make them good, even though they haven't really been like a meta thing in like probably 7 years. It's crazy how long the scout rifles have pretty much been like in this weakened form. So would I go out of my way to really farm a good God roll for the scout rifle? Probably not, but if you do get a good one, you could throw it in the vault and see how things change with the Age of Fate, since we usually get the big changes with the big expansions, and with one of them just being 2 months away, it's definitely worth keeping one of these in the vault. But thank you for watching, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone, have a good rest of your day, peace.